All right, let me get myself together because I just tried to tape this once and it just didn't come through. Then I tried to do something with my head and that wasn't working either. So, funny enough, this video that I'm speaking of, I've been reading this book for the better part of 2, maybe 3 years. And I love it because, it establishes order, but it also gives you food for thought and a chance to really share out your own thoughts on paper or in the book. And the first prompt was authenticity, which is so funny because I'm sitting up here trying to make myself look a certain way and do all these things so that I can bring this video to you, right? And it's still authentic, but at the same token, you kind of want some things to come through a little differently, whatever the case may be. Let's look at authenticity. I thought one of the points about being authentic in life is not being fake, right? And showing your true self or being your true self. But a lot of times we don't even know who or what our true selves are, because as soon as you're born, you're told to be this way or do things this way, right? So I'm going to read a little bit of this and see what, and then maybe you can kind of carve out what you think. And I can tell you what I think about it. To love yourself, you must know yourself first, right? And if you don't know yourself, how are you loving yourself? You're loving something that you just made up or that's contrived, right? When we're born, we are the truest versions of ourselves. At birth, you are the truest version of yourself because no one has dumped anything in your well yet, right? So as we grow up, we start to accumulate something what they refer to as a layer of dust, right? A dust of expectations, responsibilities. You must conform to this. You must feel this pain. You must go through this trauma, right? And then it starts to dull who you are as a human being, right? Who your authentic self is. All the cells in our body are required, but each one has its individual growth and job to do within our bodies to keep and maintain us. So the suggestion is to find a picture of from your childhood, right? Or something from when you were very young, and then when you look at it, try to reconnect with who you were in that picture. And I wish I had a picture of myself here, of my youthful self, so I could show it to you and let you see how I feel when I look at it. When I look at this particular picture, it's a picture of me with shorts and a baseball t-shirt on. And I don't know if you understand what baseball t-shirts are. It was like the color on the sleeve is different from this part. And I had a hat on that said, "Ask me, I might." And my mom used to always say, "Well, why are you wearing that hat? What does that mean? Do you even know what that means?" I was 13 years old. And she was like, what does that hat mean? Ask me, I might. What do you mean you might? Might do what? And so I think that was truly that was one of the last times that I was authentically who I was. Because I'm the type of person that likes to joke, make jokes and laugh a lot, smile. I'm what people call, I guess, I'm not sarcastic necessarily, but I point out the obvious, I guess, in a joking way, and sometimes not. But anyway, what the prompt is asking us to do is to look at these pictures of ourselves in our childhood or in our youth and try to recapture the essence of who we were in that moment. If you were the type of person that liked a certain color but decided you didn't because of the status quo, like me, I don't like wearing slips and pantyhose. My grandmother required that. If you're going to church, if you wear a skirt, dress, this is what has to be under it. As soon as I got from under them, I stopped wearing those things. You know what I'm saying? I went back to who I am authentically, a person who likes wearing pants and shorts and t-shirts and things like that. I think it's a road to discovery when you're looking for the authentic you. When you're looking for the real you, it's a road of discovery. It's a journey. Sometimes it might be a little painful and traumatic because you come to realize that your authentic and your true real self was stripped away from you, and you kind of willingly allowed it based upon fear or whatever society would think, right? Or your friends or your family would think. So I think it's important to, instead of asking, what would Jesus do? Ask, what would you do? What would you do? Because when you ask what you would do in any type of situation, it brings forth it brings forth your real thoughts and what you're thinking, right? And that connects to your true self at some point. We go through life, and I don't think we ever really connect with our true selves. And if we do, some type of trauma or some big event happens, somebody dies, or somebody loses a limb, or you have a disease, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, life is, different now. I'm going to be my real self from now on. And then there's such thing as being too real, being too authentic to the point of dumping on others for being who they are. I consider myself an authentic person. I consider myself real, but I also intentionally try not to look at others and point and say, well, they're not being authentic, or they're being fake, or they're doing this. I don't do that because I've been there, and I know the reason why people do what they do. I get it. I get the fear. I get all of that behind the scenes, what's going on. All I'm asking and advising is that you, as you go through your day every day, ask yourself, what would I do? What would the me do? Right? Is this something that I'm doing based upon someone else and what they told me I should be doing? Or is this something I'm doing based upon my true self and my true desires and what I really want to do? And I think that's important to think about that and ask yourself those questions. So the prompt is to find a picture of yourself from childhood, right? And then reconnect with yourself in that moment and ask yourself, are you really being your authentic self? As you move about your day, right? When you deal with people, when you connect with people, when you're in conversation, are you being your truest self in that moment? So let me give you an example of what I did to do this. I was on an elevator, and I'm always trying to feel silent moments. Like if it's silent, I try to fill it with noise because it feels uncomfortable being silent, because guess why? Everybody's in their thoughts. They're in their heads, right? And so in order for me to avoid being in the head, I'll try to strike up a conversation or say something witty or, do something. So this is on the elevator. I was on the elevator today, and a couple of gentlemen stepped on, and a woman stepped on. And then the two gentlemen got off, and it was just, so everybody said hi, coming on the elevator. And normally I would say something like, oh, it's so cold out there, or, woo, I'm so hungry, or, I just fill the space with some type of noise. But today, I stayed, so the way the elevator is made, it's like a mirror image of you on the doors. So I just stood there. The woman stood beside me. She was friendly. She spoke when she got on, I spoke. And we just both stood there silently and looked at ourselves in the mirror. It took so much for me I had to bite my tongue to not feel the silence with anything and just be authentic. Just be who I am. I don't have to fill a void with noise or conversation. You can just stand on the elevator, be silent and within your thoughts, and be your authentic self and not feel like the person thinks you're mean or you're not conversational or you're rude or any of those things that probably go through my mind when I'm trying to fill a void with noise. So I think it's important to look at yourself. And then another thing they say is, once you discover your authentic self, imagine abandoning everything that people placed on you. The dust, the stories, The self-imposed limiting behaviors and thoughts that always kept you hidden behind a wall. They're saying in this wonderful book, right? Once you discover that, ask yourself the question, am I being true to me? Am I being authentic to me and who I am? A lot of, like for instance, with this, me being in front of this camera right now talking to you, and speaking to you the way I am is my authentic self. I'm at work right now, right? I'm not at home with a setup and a beautiful background and all the things that most social media content creators have, right? This is who I am. This is my hair. This is me. I can't make myself any different at this point. So I think it's important to hold on to that person who you are and love on it and be your true authentic self as much as you can. Thank you for joining me today. Happy New Year. Be happy, be light, be love. Namaste. Necelia.